Ah! My phone's ringing too. Fuck.
Your regular phone sounds like the Skype ringtone?
No, I mean, I have Skype on my phone, so
okay.
I was logged in, so
I get it.
It freaked me out to pick up and then have my phone start ringing immediately after. I'm going to log out on my phone, just because I'm angry, and I'm actually just yelling to see how it'll sound when I scream, because it happens.
You plan on doing that,
Yes, I do. That was just hammed up for the recording. Did you hear last week's podcast?
No.
It's just as raw as it can be. It's just like zero editing down to the. I listened to the very end of it where we were just teching it, and I was like, "This is great. I'm leaving it. Just upload it. Do it live. Fuck it."
You mean the end part where we were talking about how we have to go back and edit out the end part?
Yep.
Actually, I do the same thing too. The friend that I do my podcast with, he'll always be like, "Oh, you can just edit something in here, right? And when we're done," it's like, "Yeah,
I could.
I'll totally do that."
Exposing the deepest secrets of his life, and then like you're gonna cut that out, sure.
Cut that. I can cut that. Whether or not it happens is.
Yes, I learned from Fox News. Inappropriate material is always great for entertainment.
I guess if you're going to learn something from Fox News, it might as well be that.
Well, I always know how to be fair and balanced based on how they behave.
You are fired.
You always know a network is not fair and balanced when they're like, "Hey guys, we're fair and balanced."
It's like. You know what that is? You know what that is? That's when I make the joke to people and people are like, "Man," like I'll say something that's self-aggrandizing and people will be like, "Oh, you're really humble," and I'll be like, "Yeah, I am the fucking humblest person. I am just so great at being humble."
Brimming with humbleness.
Yeah, how humble I am.
It's
Fox News, but without the sarcasm.
Oh man, I think that the whole. I love the DMC thing with Bob Barbas as the Bill O'Reilly ripoff. It's pretty great. He even says "do it live" at one point in the game. So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like that was a little bit heavy-handed.
I wish the whole game was heavy-handed. I mean, the bad dialogue is heavy-handed, but the whole evil corporate hipster nonsense wasn't cool.
I guess that bit was... What the fuck?
That's my phone, sorry.
No, not you. I'm upset with the game I'm playing.
I was playing Strider right before this, and
I thought you didn't like that game. You specifically said you didn't like that game.
I know, but I bought it, and I feel like I should be able to talk about it on the podcast.
Sure. This is just... Like, all the windows are boarded up, and there's nothing in here. What is this? It's a house. There's no... This is a fucking useless house.
So, so Ronnie's not showing up, and it is partly my fault.
Oh?
But yeah, well, I was telling him we should do it tonight, and he's like, we could do it tomorrow, but I never really clarified, so I just assumed we were going to do it tonight, so
So, he's not around?
Nah, he won't be here. We'll just find whatever, fuck it. Maybe
we could do it tomorrow if you want to. Maybe.
I could here, let me ask. Would you want to do it like not early, but like noontime?
I have to work from noon to 7.
We could wake up early and
No.
Yeah, nah. Fuck it, we're doing it tonight.
That sounds awful.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is I'm gonna be probably drinking with a friend, and so if I try to do one after that, I'd be like, oh, you're listening to vomiting for 3 hours.
So it'll just be the two of us tonight then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, that's fine.
Do we want to?
We may have to keep it short. I've got something else going on later, but
When you want to end
not
it?
like short, but like under an hour and a half.
Okay, that's cool. Let's hang this up and I'll listen to this and hear how it sounds. Do you also want to record just to be safe? It usually works out.
Yeah,
but
I'll double up on the recording.
Cool.
All right.
Hello, everyone. You are listening to the Video Gabecast, episode 11. Joining me this week is Argus.
You're listening to me unless you're deaf.
We also provide this podcast in Braille.
Do we?
No.
Oh.
That would be sweet, though. Print out, like, here's 30 pages. Here you go.
That must really suck to not, like... There's a lot of cool stuff I listen to that's only audio, like Tales from the Afternow or Welcome to Night Vale. Are there transcripts of those so that deaf people can enjoy it? Because...
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, they're pretty awesome.
I would much rather be blind than deaf, because, like, even though I play video games and do this podcast, I don't know if I could live without music. I don't think I could do that. Music scratches an itch better than most movies and games.
I think I'd have to pick deaf over blind, because a lot of the games I play don't have sound or don't need sound to really be good.
Oh, I mean, so many of the games that are great, it's almost half of it, maybe more, is because of the soundtrack, like the emotion in The Last of Us.
And sometimes, Last of Us had a good soundtrack, but I'm still, we've done this before.
Yeah.
But no, like, some of the stuff that I really love in terms of audio in games, like Portal.
Yeah.
But that has captions. And I know it's not the same, but I could still get part of that effect.
Most of that comedy is, dialogue. You can just read it. But at any rate, we're continuing our habit of
it's
just...
the podcast, and we're here. And you're not deaf, because we don't do that.
Huh?
Huh?
Damn it, didn't go for it. How dare you? Okay, so we have a couple news stories. One of them is kind of old. Most people have already heard it. But if you haven't, message from Ken Levine basically saying, hey, Irrational shutting down. I'm winding down the studio. He's keeping a handful of people, like 15 dudes.
And aren't they going to Take-Two Productions?
Yeah.
Okay.
From what I've heard, I think I could be totally wrong, but I think he went to, the assumption is he went to Take-Two, and they were like, hey, that the best place for your new studio is here. I wonder if he was saying, I'm leaving, and they said, don't leave. So, and a lot of people are putting this on him, like, oh, he's laying everyone off.
I've heard that too.
And I'm like, maybe, but it's a corporation, man. Corporations, nobody makes decisions in corporations except for the guys up top.
Although,
usually,
Irrational is, as a production studio, the way that a lot of studios work, unless they're owned by a publisher, and Irrational isn't. The publisher says, either the studio says, we want to make a game, and then the publisher says, okay, we'll fund it in exchange for a ton of money.
Yeah.
Or the publisher contracts a studio to make a specific game. Like, I actually can't think of an example. And then there are, of course, owned publishers like DICE or Infinity Ward.
Yeah.
Which are owned by EA and Activision, respectively.
Evil empires!
But,
I'm joking.
and they don't have much of a choice. But in this case, Ken Levine was the head of Irrational. And it started out as his company, and it was his company right up to the end. And everybody's giving him shit for this, like, he's ruining all these people's careers. And
yeah.
But you know what?
I'm sure they'll find work.
Yeah, they've worked at Irrational. Their resume is pretty fucking solid.
And the community and industry types and whatever... the video game industry is the most friendly and empathetic industry I can ever think of when it comes to people losing their jobs, because everybody, even like people on forums,
unless you're a QA tester.
Yeah, that's true.
But also, like, the video game industry has really, really heavy competition for jobs.
Yeah, that's
there
true.
aren't a lot of the jobs in the big AAA companies.
Well, I said empathetic, but I didn't say, it's a guaranteed job. But,
Yeah.
it's tough.
At the end of the day, Ken Levine got into this to make art, not to make product.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked around at Irrational and said, yeah, we've made some really awesome stuff. I want to go back to doing... I want to go do what I wanted to do from the beginning. I want to go back to what I really enjoy. And so I'm going to, we're going to go over to Take-Two, and we're going to do more freelance stuff, make smaller projects with more creative control. Because, you look at BioShock Infinite, and you can clearly see where some of their creative control was compromised.
Yeah.
And I think this is a good, this is like if somebody worked at a really shitty job and one day they say, you know what, I've got some money saved up, I'm going to take a couple months, I'm going to just go back and I'm going to look for something better. I want to be a painter, I'm going to look for something where I can do what I want to do and be a creative type. And all their friends are like, no, you can't abandon your coworkers. How dare you do this? But I
especially
hate what
people
I'm doing.
are unhappy there. They feel
it's
abandoned. It's like when you move out of a shitty neighborhood. Your homies like you can't.
You can't leave us. It's like, well, I'd rather not have a sucky life.
Yeah. We're kind of escalating this just for the sake of example, but I think that another thing is consider taking on another huge project like that. Making big games takes a long time.
Yeah, and
it's grueling. It's hard.
Okay, I know a little bit about how the games industry works. If you're working for a AAA publisher, like Irrational Studios was, you're working on salary. You're not getting paid hourly.
Yeah.
But you're putting in 14 to 16-hour days.
Yeah.
And when the deadlines start coming up, you're putting in 14 to 16-hour days every day. It overruns your life.
I think some companies are smarter about doing crunch time, where some seasons are harder than others, but I think Halo 2 was almost like this beacon for the video game industry to say, hey, let's arrange this better.
Yeah.
Some still don't do it, though.
Companies like the evil empires, like EA and Activision, they gotta get games out for the Christmas season. It doesn't matter if the games are good, they just gotta be done.
Oh, speaking of Activision,
oh, okay.
Should we just move to the next news story? And because also we have more we want to say about Ken Levine.
Summing this up, Ken Levine is an adult human who is allowed to make decisions.
Yeah, and he probably wants to. He wants to focus on smaller games, probably one to get them done faster, I would assume, and two to be more creative.
I guess what I was going for with that whole thing about how you're on salary but you're still working 16-hour days is if you're working for someone else, if you're not working on a passion project that you really want to do personally,
like most Americans,
those 16-hour days are going to feel like shit.
Yeah.
But if you're doing something because it's an idea you had and it's your dream and your seed of an idea that you're putting out there, at that point, a 16-hour day is what you'd be doing anyway, whether you're at home or at the office. You're going to be working on that.
Yeah.
Anyway, what's the next thing? What do we got?
This actually wasn't on the docket, but when you said Activision, it reminded me. Weren't they the Tony Hawk guys? Didn't they do Tony Hawk?
Oh, is Tony Hawk's doing another game.
Yeah, they're making, and Tony Hawk is apparently, he's got his name all over it, and he's, didn't they have, some agreement where they, I don't know, they had some agreement with some company till, 2026 or something like that. I don't know
if Tony Hawk still relevant? Do the kids...
Well, skateboarding's not really relevant. It will always be relevant to a point, but not like it was.
Skateboarding... The mechanics of skateboarding aren't going to change. No. Its popularity is pretty stable.
It's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna plummet, but
I don't see.
It's not booming.
It's just like a thing that is there.
I got
some kids like to skateboard. I had a skateboard when I was younger. preferred rollerblading because I watched Hackers too many times, but
I saw a dude rollerblading the other day. I was like, what the fuck?
what happened? Are we in the 90s?
I just drove through a time machine. I didn't even know it. It was almost...
As a tip, if you ever want to get really motivated to learn how to rollerblade, just go watch Hackers.
Okay.
In fact, go watch Hackers anyways. That movie is hilarious.
I think they had this conversation on Giant Bomb once. It's not about rollerblading, but... In fact, I read Snow Crash. That's pretty close, right?
Yeah.
There's rollerblades in that.
Yeah, YT is a rollerblader.
Yeah. Oh, God, the names in that book. Oh,
the main character's name is Hero Protagonist. That's just... You can't beat that.
The weird thing about that book is you don't know when he's being serious and when he's fucking around.
Always.
Yeah.
Yes to
both at the same time, yes. So what the hell can they do to Tony Hawk? I mean,
Nothing.
almost...
Tony Hawk 3 was the perfect skateboarding game.
Yeah, and 4 wasn't bad, but it wasn't, I think you couldn't get much better than 3. It's like, where are you going to go?
3 had... The first one, it was like all just downhill courses where you were supposed to chain stuff together. The second one was all open areas where there was no sense of momentum. In the third one, it was the perfect blend.
Yeah.
There was lots of straight lines and lots of ramps and hills, and you could chain all this stuff together and build up this sense of incredible speed, and every level had dozens of little collectibles and secrets and goals and objectives, and it was so cool, and there was just so much packed in there to do, but if you didn't want to do that, you could just do your own damn thing, and it was still awesome. And then in 4, it's like...
Hey, it just got too big and crazy and wasn't much focus.
Like there's nothing... It didn't have that same sense of... Again, it didn't have that sense of passion. It was like a bunch of people behind desks read a list of things that the kids these days thought were cool and put them in a video game.
I remember playing, and I had a PS1 real late in that lifetime, so I remember playing it like Toys R Us or something like that. And like the first time, and you and everyone else is probably in the same boat, the first time I played like Tony Hawk 1 or whatever it was like, holy shit. Like it was one of the more modern holy shit moments. But it's almost like, I don't want to compare video games to losing your virginity, but bear with me. It's almost like you can only experience that holy shit moment once with Tony Hawk. And they keep getting better from 1 to 3, but
now
that first moment, it's like, wow.
I might be a little bit biased because I played 3 first.
Okay.
It was the first skateboarding game I played, and then afterwards I loved it, and I went back, and when I was younger, and I was like, oh, hey, Tony Hawk 2 is on sale. It's in this bargain bin at the supermarket thing. Target? Yeah, Target. And
that thing with the bullseye. Why not?
And so I was like, okay, I'll pick this up. It's only $2. Well, there's a reason it's $2. It's not very good.
Yeah, you going back from a better game to a...
Yeah, and...
I played the Game Boy one a lot. And that was actually, for a handheld, pretty fucking good. I mean, they changed that way to make it relevant to a Game Boy and not some bad port.
When they would just port it over directly when they had to try to make it.
Oh, God, and they would do that. They would try to make these three-dimensional games on the Game Boy. And I feel like you just raised up this horrible, like, PTSD of all the bad Game Boy ports. Remember that shit? Like, all the driving games that just looked like shit and were like 2
Crazy
frames?
Taxi had a Game Boy Color port, I think.
How was that?
Awful.
Okay. There you go. There you go. At least Matt Hoffman's Pro BMX was 2D and tight. You know, it was very basic, but the tricks were good. It wasn't as good as Tony Hawk, though. But, anyway.
Matt Hoffman, you wanted to bring him up today?
Well, we're talking about Tony Hawk, and so it was around the time that Tony Hawk 2 was a thing.
What?
So.
Who was Matt Hoffman? I cannot remember.
He was a BMX guy, apparently.
Oh.
I mean, he must have been if he had a game called Hoffman's Pro BMX.
Oh, okay.
They brought him up on the Bombcast, too, and I was like...
I always find it bizarre when they have celebrity names attached to games. Or even weirder.
Yeah.
When there are celebrities in games, like as voice actors. I was watching a Let's Play and they were talking about this, that in Skyrim, the tutorial Greybeard is this really famous actor who just shows up for like 5 minutes and then he's gone. He gives you a tutorial and he's gone.
Probably all they wanted to pay him for, but
And,
they
yeah,
slapped
or
that name
like-
on the game.
Another example, Liam Neeson is in Fallout 3.
So is Ron Perlman. and
Yeah.
I don't know where.
He's in there somewhere.
hmm In fact, that's part of the reason why I got that game was for Ron Perlman, and I was like, where is he? Ron Perlman's voice.
The example I heard was like, it's really bizarre when they do that because it's kind of like you go into your job and on orientation day, you sit down and like Robert Downey Jr. comes in and gives you the orientation presentation.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
and
the
then
Iron
just-
Man suit.
And then just leaves. And you're like, what? Holy shit, that was Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
Is that it? Like, you actually paid for him to come in and like you're working at Wendy's or something.
Yeah.
You paid for him to come in and explain to me how to flip burgers and how to not dunk my head in the grease pit.
Good thing they
that's
told you
cool,
that, though.
but- that's cool, but why did you do that?
Yeah. Yeah. It's bizarre when they do the whole 5 minutes of it. How about instead of paying like a bunch of really good celebrities for 2 minutes, you pay one and have them be in the game for.
Perfect example of that. Saints Row 4.
That was on sale recently. I didn't buy it.
Fucking Keith David.
I forgot who Keith David is.
Did you ever play Mass Effect?
I keep meaning to, but I need a better desk.
Okay. Did you ever see They Live?
No.
Have you heard any documentary in the past decade?
I have. Which
Odds are good at least one of them was narrated by Keith David.
Okay.
He's done everything. And in Saints Row 4, Keith David is the voice actor for Keith David.
Okay.
Because when the plot in gigantic air quotes is that you destroy terrorism and become president of the United States, elevating yourself from being a gang member to the president of the U.S., and you get Keith David to be your vice president because he was bored. There's actually a little audio clip in there. He's like an audio log from him where he's like, "Yes, I'd done everything: TV, movies, documentaries. Ha, hell, I'd even voice acted for video games.
I almost
It's
like
time
it.
to apply my greatness to politics."
Well, you know what? That's not too far from real life.
That's
Celebrities, doing the whole political thing. It's
true.
like,
Jesse Ventura.
you know what? We're destined to having shitty politicians in America. So it's like whenever an actor does it, it's like whatever. We're still gonna have something crappy whether he wins or lose.
Yeah, it's like you might as well get the showboating.
Yeah.
Like
exactly.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. I don't agree with everything he's done, but I could say the same for every governor of California ever.
Even and you know what? Some people kind of think he's a blowhard and a right-wing Republican, but you know what? He's one of the few honest, sort of honest politicians.
He's mostly honest about the fact that he's a blowhard right-wing Republican,
And he doesn't dance around the topic as
Yeah,
often as many
and
other politicians.
much
Still
like-
bankrupted California though.
Much like George W. Bush, I think he'd be a great dude to just hang out with.
Yes.
I don't
real
want him in
drunk
charge,
with.
but like he's done interviews on Reddit, and the dude seems like he's just awesome.
Mm-hmm.
One guy asked him, "It's like, hey, can you just like give us a picture of you posing with that tank that you have in your backyard?" Because for some reason he has a tank in his backyard.
Because he's fucking Arnold.
Yeah, and he went out and he had one of his staff take a picture of him like leaning, like lounging on this tank, smoking a cigar, signed it, posted it to Reddit. It's like, he's got a sense of humor, and I wish more people were like that.
Yeah, a lot of celebrities aren't. They kind of have personality disorders. they kind of live in this. Huh?
Like Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like focused it into his acting.
yeah, I mean, if you have all that talent, something else has to be broken. Usually, especially comedians, man. But yeah, new Tony Hawk game. I don't know what they can do.
Oh God,
but-
sorry, I derailed us hard.
No, it's fine. I actually looked back up at the news thing. I was like, all right, we should be talking about news. But nah, yeah, Tony Hawk. I don't know what the fuck they're gonna do.
I'm not gonna play it.
Watch Thug 3. Watch him do it.
I haven't really enjoyed sports games or anything like that in a long time.
I've been having a hard time enjoying games in general, but maybe we'll talk about that later on. But
if it was a cyberpunk version of Tony Hawk, like if it actually was Snow Crash and you played as a courier,
okay, why not just make Jet Set, like a new Jet Set
Radio
game?
Future?
Yeah, I want a good Jet Set Radio game because those games are great in theory, but
They
just
had
the
a
gameplay.
lot of potential.
I bet they were great when they first happened, like on the Dreamcast, but I tried to play it because
Jet
everyone
Radio
talks
Future
about
is
it.
Still pretty good, and it's mostly the soundtrack. My roommate is obsessed with that game.
That quirky soundtrack is pretty entertaining.
yeah. The visuals, the aesthetics on that is beautiful. It's hard to navigate the game sometimes. Like the camera doesn't move as fast as you do.
I just found the gameplay to be so boring.
Yeah,
It's just
They could
not.
definitely
It's
improve
so slow. Like after Tony Hawk, it's just
bizarre
like,
that it's so slow because it's supposed to be like a fast game.
well, once Tony Hawk happened, it's just like that game is just fucking 1,000 miles per hour, and
Yeah.
then you go back to rolling around.
Yeah,
Spray
it's hard to
paint.
build up speed. Even grinding is pretty not sluggish, just not as fast as it could be, I guess.
Yeah. This isn't a new story, but that new Rambo game came out and it looks horrible.
Of course it does.
Oh no, it looked really horrible. Like even
there are a lot of Rambo games, and they're all universally awful.
well, people talk a lot about bad licensed games, but like even the bad ones nowadays are a lot better than the bad ones on Nintendo. This one is probably getting close to Nintendo levels of licensed games.
I guess the thing is, back in the day, the bad licensed games have always been awful, but we've been seeing fewer and fewer good licensed games.
Yeah.
Like, can you tell me what the last good licensed game you played was? Because the only one that springs to mind for me is Aladdin.
That was a Tommy Tallarico game.
It was a damn good game.
Yeah, for the Sega Genesis.
SNES.
Because it's different. I think it's
It
very.
is
I
different.
think Tommy
The Sega
Tallarico
Genesis-
worked on the Genesis version, and that's the one I.
They're very similar. The Genesis has they both have slightly different mechanics.
Is the audio the same? Because
No.
Tommy's obsessed with audio, and I think that's what
the-
made the Sega one good.
The Sega Genesis one has not higher quality, but it has different music, and it's got more of it.
Oh, I need to get a Sega. Why did? God, it's like every now and again I do this thing where what am I gonna play?
The thing is, the Genesis has better music, but the SNES has extra levels, and its final levels are more fun, in my opinion.
I should get an emulator and play them both. I'm actually
Side by side.
I'm thinking about having a part of this not this podcast, but in the future, I'm gonna have a thing where I talk about an old game here and there. Some kind of old and some real fucking old.
We could do like a Let's Play of Aladdin.
Oh man.
Is it possible to like do a split screen streaming where we're each playing? You could play the SNES version, I could play the Genesis version.
I shouldn't let my audience know this, but I don't know the first thing about streaming.
Like I don't either.
I just record. But the problem is my trial of Sony Vegas ended, and so they hide all that shit in the registry, so you can't.
Of course.
And I'm gonna find a way around that, because fuck you, Sony. You're not getting $600 out of me, you assholes.
God, that's so.
The capital.
Yeah.
If you want to point to like how outrageous American capitalism has gotten, and I don't care how freaking Republican you are, look at that and say that's fair.
Making it financially difficult for content creators to make art is not a sign of a healthy economy.
No, and I don't see how it helps them. Like, I can't imagine they sell a lot.
Yeah, if they cut the price down to $60, they'd sell 10 times as many copies, and they'd make the same profit, but more people would use it, which increases their audience and exposure, so they sell more goddamn copies. This is basic finance.
Well, looking at Sony, they're not very good at doing basic
That is true.
mental function as it is.
Hmm.
Fuck you, Sony. I hate you.
All right.
I'm angry.
Next news story. Let's do the last one here.
So Seth Rogen is apparently making a movie about Sega versus Genesis. I'm sorry, Sega versus Genesis. Yes, it's schizophrenia. Sega versus Nintendo, the console war back then. So.
You know, I really liked Pirates of Silicon Valley.
I knew you were gonna bring that up. God damn, that movie's great.
So if this is anything like that, I'll be on board.
The funny thing is, they said the same thing on Giant Bomb. If it's like that movie, which is probably the best damn movie of this kind of thing. They're also doing a book and a documentary apparently.
Yeah,
so
it's like
it's gonna be a big thing.
Pirates of Silicon Valley is, I don't want to call it a mockumentary. I guess it's like an actumentary or something.
Yeah,
where they're telling a non-fiction story, but with enough character drama and hyperbole tossed in, based on real things, to make it more grounded in reality, but at the same time interesting to the audience.
That movie, the actors that they picked in that movie, it's like one of the best casts in movie history, in my opinion. Like, you couldn't get any better of a group of guys to portray those dudes, the real life dudes, and do it so well, look just like them. It's incredible. Like, that movie, I don't want to say it's underrated because people that know about it love it, but like that whole story, I love that Jobs book.
Everyone should have to watch that movie at some point.
Yeah, and even people that aren't into computers, it's a compelling story.
And computers are becoming a big part of our lives, and it's good to know where they got started.
Mm-hmm. And if you listen to Steve Jobs talk and his whole journey and everything, like, Steve Jobs, contrary to what people that don't know about him, he's not a nerd. Like, he always thought of himself as an artist, and the engineers were the nerds.
Yeah, and he's also...
No offense to the engineers.
Well, whatever.
I mean, well, I say nerd because it's kind of a word now. It's not like a bad word anymore. People that freak out about that word need to get with the program.
Yeah.
But,
fun fact, the origin of the word nerd is a Dr. Seuss book.
Oh, really?
It's drunk spelled backwards and then pronounced phonetically.
Well, there you go. I think I may have heard that once, but it's still surprising.
But yeah, I mean, is Seth Rogen going to be in this, or is he just... I mean, is he just being a writer-director along with Evan Goldberg, or are they going to actually be actors? Because
This article I'm reading is like
Sega
2 paragraphs.
And Nintendo are Japanese companies.
Mm-hmm.
Their origin story and their corporate conflict was played out in the early days when they were mostly Japanese, pretty much almost all Japanese. I don't think I want to see Seth Rogen playing a Japanese man.
I don't think... it doesn't say here that he's acting in it. Oh, and also it's Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, working together, and I don't know, man. I saw trailers for This Is the End, and I was like, that doesn't look something for me.
You can skip that.
All the comedians in that movie are just like, duh! And then everyone laughs, and then the movie ends.
Yeah. So I guess we'll see what kind of comedy comes out in this, and if they can do it justice.
If they fuck this up, man, I'm gonna be so angry because this is something that I want badly to be good.
Oh yeah, because this is an interesting story.
Yeah.
This is like the console wars at the time. That defined,
that was drama right there. I mean,
that defined the push for better gaming technology.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no, there was no hardcore gaming scene.
No.
There were just, it was kids and sometimes their parents playing video games.
Well, it wasn't really. I mean, there's a bunch of people playing games that those demographics hadn't really been made. Although I would say most Nintendo games, like NES games, were pretty fucking hardcore. Like, I can remember, I probably cut years off of my life with the frustration I went through playing Nintendo.
That's fair, but like there was no.
We didn't have demographics.
Not just demographics. There was no, like, right nowadays there's the casual audience and there's the core audience for games. The people who like games as games and enjoy explorations of mechanics and themes.
Mm-hmm.
who use words like that when they talk about games.
Yeah, and then you do it to people that play that one Call of Duty or Madden game a year, and then they look at you like you got snakes coming out of your ears.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm afraid, or not, I'm not afraid, but like the console war back then was before that core demographic existed. It was just people playing games, and the existence of the console war and that competition is what pushed for more complex games, and eventually led to the creation of stuff that would lead to gaming as it is today. And that's super fucking cool, and I hope they do this story justice, because it is the foundation of our entire industry and art form.
And they were reading, Giant Bomb was reading an article about this, and apparently they want you to believe that there's going to be a lot of surprises in this movie, like a lot of news that just never got out, because there needs to be a big gap, for all these people to not be working there anymore, and so they can say the shit they want to say. So, man, Sega had a reputation. They were popularized partly by just being sort of assholes to Nintendo. Just like Sega does what Nintendo don't. Just dumb shit like that.
The campaign was just atrocious.
It was, but it kind of went along with Sonic, and the Sonic's kind of snarky, sarcastic attitude, and they were like the rebellious. It was cool to be rebellious back then.
They really did market themselves, like they geared up to take an American market by targeting American teenagers.
Mm-hmm. I think they did a damn good job. I mean, we didn't have a Super, we had a Sega Genesis, but I don't feel like I was really lacking at the time.
Yeah, I never actually had a SNES.
I think my brother, for whatever reason,
I only played some SNES games because my roommates each have one.
Yeah.
There was like 5 of them out in the living room.
I kind of want to get a SNES just so I can buy that All-Stars cart. The Game Boy versions are the best, but I don't know if I want to fuck around with just looking at that screen.
Yeah, that's totally fair.
But I had something else and now it's gone. Whatever, fuck it.
I had my family had a Nintendo Entertainment System, or a Famicom, if you're Japanese. And
well, the Famicom is a little different, but yeah, same games, but
slight physical. It's you know what it is? It's the difference between like a PAL and an NTS region PS2.
Oh man, I don't want a Famicom ever, man. I mean, unless there's some games I can't get here because regions and stuff, but
you can physically mod it.
Those controllers don't unplug. What were they thinking?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
But then again, it worked, and the Nintendo Entertainment System barely worked.
Yeah.
Yeah,
my parents had a NES, which they mostly played. And
can I play Go to Your Room?
Yeah, go to your room, we're playing Mario. And then we didn't get a SNES, we went to a Genesis, because my dad thought it looked cool. I was very young at the time, and mostly, like, I never really played a lot of Genesis games. I played Vector Man. I played some Sonic with my brother.
I wanted to play Vector Man, but my brother always said it looked stupid, so we never got to.
It
Older
does
brother.
Look stupid.
But the gameplay and the graphics.
It looks goofy, but it has a very unique aesthetic style.
It looked incredible back then. Like, all the explosions and the screen shaking and the fluid movement.
Have you heard the plot to Vector Man?
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, God.
You are a robot. Actually, no. It's the plot to WALL-E, but slightly different.
I've never seen WALL-E.
Do you know the plot to WALL-E?
No.
Fine.
I'm kind of tired of computer animated movies, but go ahead.
So, humanity fucked up the planet. Everything is, there's nuclear waste everywhere, and the whole place is dying. The
Sounds about right.
Fucked. So, all of humanity gets into a big ark ship and takes off.
There's no one
there.
there.
They'll come back in 10,000 years after their robot servants have cleaned up the planet. And humanity is about ready to come back just a few years out when, and your Vector Man, the robot, have just finished dumping a load of toxic waste into the sun. And you arrive back on Earth to find that the robot controller accidentally had his computer mainframe replaced with an atomic bomb and has gone insane.
Just accidentally? Okay. See, it all made sense till the very end.
Yes.
It was like, let's do a joint right before we finish the story.
There was a point where this stops. holding together. And now you must fight your way through the mind-controlled robot hordes and destroy Megatron.
This is what happens when
Megatron.
Sega steps into the story. It's like
Yeah.
everything is normal, and then Sega
Everything's
happens.
normal, and now your brain is a nuke.
Okay, why not?
Yeah.
Because Sega Genesis stories were so, meaningful for the most part, right?
Yeah. Honestly, it has more story than most other games, and it's got that super retro, 1970s sci-fi action movie feel to it.
Yeah, and just the fluid animation in that game. You
God,
look at it now and it still looks
all
great.
poppy.
Hmm?
And yeah, it looks good.
Like the way that he moves and just how fluid everything is.
Kind of bouncy. It's
Yeah.
bizarre when you run into one of the bosses that's more... the first
Clunky.
boss is a gunship that you have to shoot down, and it has a very rigid animation. It's a single sprite that tilts a little bit back and forth across the screen. And compared to everything you've dealt with up to that point, it looks so dumb.
Yeah.
It just doesn't fit. Compared to the polar bear boss later on that moves like an organic creature.
There's a lot of games where the main character gets a lot more treatment and care than most of the other characters in the game.
Well, I guess that's what I'm saying is that every character in the game got that treatment, except for the first boss and a few other enemies in really awkward places. Everything flows smooth except for 3 or 4 things, and when you see those things, it just breaks the immersion.
Every now and again, I kind of come back to Earth and realize the shit that we talk about for half an hour. This is your Vector Man fucking podcast, everybody.
Hey, Vector Man is awesome.
No, Vector Man is great, but it's just every now and again it's funny how random things go. But it's fine. I want them to make that Vector.
Tangents.
Huh?
I'm powered by tangents.
I thought you were gonna say I'm powered by Vector Man or something.
That would be bizarre.
Vector Man's kind of like Iron Man.
You know what Vector Man did that no other game did is during that loading screen when it comes up with the little Sega
it's
thing,
animated. You can fuck around with
You
it.
can move around on that loading screen
Yeah.
and shoot things.
That was cool.
Yeah.
I actually didn't properly play Vector Man until I got that Sega Genesis collection for PS2 or something. So, yeah, even then it was pretty good. It's still fine.
I'm gonna go dig that up after this and play some Vector Man.
Do you have a cart or do you have the?
Yeah, somewhere.
Oh man, I don't know if I would want cards to come back. Maybe they could now, but they'd be SD. Anyway, point is, when cards worked, just the rattly sound they make when you're rifling through them, and just they were so cool. And then N64 used them, and Sony didn't. And then we said, oh hey, this is why cards are no longer good.
Because CDs are so much better.
Yeah.
Now digital storage is better, and
the beginning of Nintendo being behind the times.
yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, so that movie, documentary, book thing is all supposed to happen. Very little details from what I'm seeing, so.
I'll check it out. It'll probably be okay.
Don't fuck it up, man! That's what Seth Rogen, fucking whatever your other, even Evan Goldberg. They should get real Goldberg in there too. Why not? The wrestling Goldberg.
Oh, okay.
The only Goldberg I know!
It's real Goldberg? Are you implying that he's a clone duplicate? Or?
No, I mean, everybody else doesn't matter. All the other Goldbergs.
Just the wrestler, okay.
Yes.
I'm with you.
Because he spirited dudes. And even though wrestling was fake, there were moves, especially back in WCW when those guys were really good at making things look real. Whenever Goldberg speared somebody, it was scary. It was I wouldn't want to fake that. Never. That dude was huge. He was an animal. Enormous. Anyway, this is your wrestling podcast for the week. So did you play any games this week? Because I think that's it for the news.
I have been playing games for the sake of research.
Yeah, me too.
Not for this podcast. I mean, not to be condescending, but,
For superior podcasts that are unknown to the public just yet.
Hidden podcast. No.
Yes.
I've been working on a board game.
Hidden on those NES cartridges.
That'd be cool, actually. Get old NES cartridges, put a podcast on them, and leave them
You remember that South Park that was on, what was that, Grand Theft Auto or something? There's like episodes of South Park on one of the, yeah, it was like, yeah, it was a weird, true story. Huh. Yeah, weird. Anyway,
I've been working on a board game, and I'm trying to get a certain feel down for it. So I've been playing games like Dwarf Fortress and FTL and Cataclysm, Dark Days Ahead.
Cataclysm.
So that I can properly get the feel for the mechanics of what I like to call the Doom Spiral.
You don't mean like id Doom, do you?
No.
Okay.
I mean like a sense of impending dread and fatalism.
Okay.
That feeling that players get when the game starts and they immediately know they're fucked. And throughout the game, they are never gaining ground. They are always losing, bit by bit, entropy chipping away at them until they either die or barely manage to overcome their obstacles.
You just summed up Nintendo, like NES in a nutshell right there. God, those games were hard. I never want to go back to that. As much as I loved any... Oh, I forgot. Anyway, sorry. I'm going to talk about Nintendo later when you're done.
But
I did something exciting this week.
And so yeah, I'm making a board game I'm trying to make it like that. So I'm playing games like Dwarf Fortress and FTL so that I can look at their mechanics and see, how often does the player get hit? How often does the player get rewarded? What are the various mechanics of the disasters? Like, what resources does a game give you? What does it let you do with them? And then how does it screw you over with them?
Is there digging in this game?
Is there what?
Oh wait, it's a board game, isn't it?
It's a board game.
Never mind. I was thinking like digging and stuff.
It's a board game where you and the other people who are playing you're on a timer. You build a spaceship at the start, and then you try to get that spaceship as far as possible. So it's similar in tone to FTL, but a little bit different because the main mechanic is not how you respond to external threats. It's almost like a puzzle game. It's all about how you position the crew. But we talk about video games here, not board games, so I'm talking about video games I've been playing.
Because people might get bored.
I'm going to slap you until my arm gets tired.
I've been waiting to use that the whole time.
Yeah.
So is that all you've been playing? Are those whatever RPG kind of?
Yeah, mostly roguelikes. Well, is Dwarf Fortress a roguelike? Not really.
I don't know if I've ever played Dwarf Fortress. I played that shitty Dwarfs game for about 15 minutes and said, "This is God." Deleted it.
Yeah, well, that game's awful.
Yeah, it is. It's sad.
Dwarf Fortress is it's a special snowflake.
I've never heard anyone say that before, so good job. New phrase.
I've put about 200 or 300 hours into Dwarf Fortress.
Whoa. Is it the good version of Dwarves? Like, is that the game they ripped off, or?
Let me look up Dwarves really quick. I think I own that on Steam, and I don't know if... But, I put all that time in, and I'm still not actually sure if I've played Dwarf Fortress.
Okay.
When you say dwarves, is that dwarves with the exclamation part, question mark afterwards?
I think so. It's a real ugly indie game.
Yeah, I actually kind of like that game.
It just has a bad tutorial.
It does.
Oh, I couldn't get through it. It's too much ADD for me. I was like, I can't do it.
I first saw dwarves at PAX a few years back, and my friend and I stopped, looked at it, and asked the guy, "So is this like a graphical version of Dwarf Fortress?" And the guy that was demoing the game gave this sigh, like that was the only thing people had been asking him all day. He said, "No, it's not. It's a different game. It just happens to involve dwarves." Oh, okay. No, it looks interesting.
Well, you make a game like that.
Fucking day, we hear somebody behind us go up. I was like, "So is this like Dwarf Fortress?"
Well, I mean, what were they expecting? I mean...
I know. Yeah, what else are you going to do? Dwarf Fortress is the eponymous dwarf game.
Mm-hmm.
But despite all the time I've put into Dwarf Fortress, and I say put in, I don't think I've actually played Dwarf Fortress.
You don't know how much of a dent you've made in that game. You just
I
know
have
what you're doing.
no fucking idea.
You're in that hamster ball, and you're just like, where am I going?
It was at about hour 100 that I learned how to organize a military. It was at about hour 150 that I learned that I could deploy the military to places on purpose.
So are they just really good at putting that carrot out? If you know what I mean? Like having something one step in front of you for you to shoot for, and even if it's a slow game, you don't notice?
Yeah, I guess so. Like, there's always something that you need to get done, and there's always an idea you have, like, you'll run into something and think, oh, fuck yeah, a waterfall. I'll carve out around this and build, like, a nobleman's chamber here. This will be so cool, and that distracts you long enough for the next goblin invasion to show up, and, you know, that distracts you long enough, so you get through that, and then afterwards you're like, alright, gotta shore up my defenses, and you build the dwarven version of the Atom Smasher, which is a drawbridge.
Okay. That's an exciting way to find a drawbridge.
Dwarf Fortress, if a drawbridge lands on something, that something no longer exists.
All right. That sounds like it makes sense. I mean, drawbridges are big.
So if you can set up a situation where you can control a drawbridge at will, then
That'd be pretty cool.
Invading armies do not stand much of a chance.
Do you get to put crocodiles in the water?
Yeah.
Good. Okay, otherwise I was going to say, fuck this game!
You can capture any animal, including, like, the ancient Colossus beasts that come out of the depths. You can put them in cages, you can train them, you can butcher them, you can dump them in places and just hope they don't escape and eat your dwarves.
This sounds interesting. I just don't know how long I'd be able to build before I gave up and said, ADHD.
What I like about it is that there is no point at which you are safe. Like, you can build up your fortifications and, okay, now you're pretty safe from invasion. Are you safe from monsters? Are you safe from dragons and plague and werewolves and vampires and necromancers and rats? Are you safe from rats eating your food? Where is your garbage going? Do you have a place to store all your dead dwarves? Because you will have dead dwarves. Do you have the materials that you need for when one of your dwarves goes insane and demands a crafting workshop and 800 pounds of deer intestines so that they can make a chair?
Okay, that's how you make a chair.
Yeah, let's go with that.
But does it have the worst enemy in video game history?
The bat?
Dysentery.
Yes, I think it does.
Fucking Oregon Trail, it was always dysentery.
Always dysentery.
I
played bar trivia with my parents sometimes, just to keep in touch with them, and the other night, one of the questions that came up was, list 4 of the ways that you can die in the Oregon Trail.
Oh God, I don't know. All I know is
really?
Dysentery. Yeah, I don't remember.
Dysentery, snake bite, drowning. Shit.
I played that game when I was like fucking, I don't know.
I'm pretty sure, like, eaten by bobcats is another one.
That's not a children's game.
Is that... Eaten by Bears actually sounds like a metal band.
That does. There
Anyway,
you go.
That's what I've been playing, and enough about dwarves, or Dwarf Fortress. Dwarves is not as good. What have you been playing?
Before I talk about what I've been playing, I forgot a news story.
Oh.
So we're going back. We're going back in time to when I was doing news, so...
In the distant past.
Just the distant past 20 minutes ago. So distant.
Those sound effects for a flashback.
Oh, like the jingly thing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Just call it the jingly thing.
You can edit that in, right?
I could. I don't know if I will. And I was going to try to make the sound of my mouth, but I was like, nah, fuck that. I'd fail and embarrass myself. Because I never do that. I never do that on this show, embarrass myself.
No, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Like when I try to start the show and go, and that's the intro for you.
What news? Go.
So even though it's not going to be called Doom 4, there will be a beta for the next Doom game for those who pre-order Wolfenstein: The New Order. Problem is, I don't know if I want that fucking game.
I don't know if I want either of those games.
I'm a huge fan of all the Doom games, even though people hated Doom 3.
I didn't hate Doom 3. I just felt like it was a radically different game than Doom 1 and 2.
Yeah, and it actually, from the trailers, like, you watched the trailers, and it looked like a very surreal, like, Doom on, like, a Mars base. Like, it looked kind of realistic by the trailers, and then you played the game, and it wasn't what it looked like.
Yeah.
But then I still got to liking it once I got over
I guess my problem with Doom 3 was Doom 1 and 2 were games that were made, and I'm quoting someone here, they are a labor of love. They are the games that the guys at id wanted to make.
Mm-hmm.
id? Was it id?
Yeah.
Was it?
Yeah.
Yeah. They're late night pizza parties and D&D games. They're heavy metal album covers.
They're the product of culture.
Yeah, it was a product of their culture and their lives, and it was their game, and you could get a sense of who they were. And not only that, but the mechanics they put in were mechanics that flowed really, really smoothly. Fast moving, fast shooting, projectile avoidance, grabbing power-ups and nailing bad guys and finding secret rooms. Even finding secret rooms, the game still moved fast.
Yeah. And, that game still plays fine today because of those,
Have you seen the Brutal Doom mod?
I was actually just playing that the other night. I mean, not long.
Fucking awesome.
I need to sink in more time into that because the Brutal Doom videos I saw on YouTube are not the same one that I have, so I need to find what kind of mods they were using. Because you can mod the hell out of even the Brutal Doom.
Yeah.
You can. And I thought about doing all that, and I was like, oh.
Then I ran into Doom 3. And I thought to myself, fuck yeah, Doom 3. And I bought it without thinking. Doom 3 plays nothing like Doom 1 and 2.
No.
It's still made by id, but it's obvious now that they're a bigger company, that more people touched this than the small group of friends that really wanted to make Doom.
And there's a lot of fighting with the technology in that game. Like,
yeah.
John Carmack later said what was the word he used? Basically, he said the programmers hissed at us every time we turned on the lights. Basically, because the game probably went down to 2 frames per second, I bet.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
Yeah, that's why they had the flashlight, not because they were trying to make it scary, so sorry, guys.
Yeah, but that was the thing, it's like, it turned suddenly, it's no longer an action shooter, it's a survival horror game.
Yeah.
But
well,
not enough survival, and not
a lot
enough
of ammo
horror.
in that game, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the problem, is like, it looks and plays like a survival horror game, but the underlying mechanics are still those of an action game. Except the lighting is still dark. So, and most enemies have hit scan weapons or melee attacks, so you're not getting anything.
I think that game had a couple problems. It was a little unfinished. Like, the whole disappearing enemies thing was stupid. And,
I didn't even run into any of the bugs. I played through a completely bugless session.
No, it wasn't buggy, but it was like, I feel like the whole reason why the enemies disappeared was to keep that game running well. Just like the flashlight and everything. And they should have marketed it as what it was, because I think
they shouldn't have called it Doom 3. They should have just called it, like, I don't know, the Phobos incident.
Something like that, yeah.
That would have made for a better game.
And put that flashlight on the gun.
Changing the name changes expectations. Like, if they'd called the new Star Trek, instead of Star Trek, if they just called it Shit Happening in Space, I would love that movie.
Isn't that all Star Trek?
No. I'm not going to get into that one.
Yeah, fair enough.
But yeah, bottom line, if I boot up Doom 4, because it's Doom and I'll buy it anyway.
Yeah, me too.
If I boot up Doom 4, and Judas Priest starts playing in the background, and there's a helmeted space marine on the cover, and the difficulty levels are measured in the degree of anguish that I want to experience, and I jump in, and I'm immediately presented with 30 demons hurling fireballs at me, and I have a chain gun.
And you're dancing around to make them hit each other?
Perfect. Yes. And I can strafe around, and I move like an electric car on steroids.
Yeah. It's pretty funny how you didn't really bob. Well, you did kind of bob in those games, but you kind of just glided around in those old shooters. Just kind of flew like a hover car.
Hey, have you seen? We've talked about Titanfall. Gameplay for Titanfall.
Yeah.
You move like you're the Doom guy.
Yeah, you do, and you can run along walls like it's no problem.
Developers take note. We want that.
Yeah.
We want mobility.
Well, what if Doom and Brad from Giant Bomb brought this up?
Giant Bomb is different. That's actually a podcast all about the Inception soundtrack.
Yes. I've listened to that soundtrack. It's really good. Actually. So, what if Doom 4 was just Doom 1, like, with modern day graphics?
Doom 1.
Yeah. I would play that for $20.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they should have been doing in this time while they've been fucking rebooting Doom 4 over and over and over.
Yeah,
John Carmack says he wished id had released more games when he worked there.
Is John
Apparently
Carmack no longer with id?
He's no longer with id.
What's he do now?
He's working on the Oculus Rift.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so he's full time there now.
Hey,
so.
Does anybody remember John Romero?
Yeah, he was a big reason why those old Doom games were so great.
What happened to him?
I don't know.
I mean, after Daikatana, and he completely failed to make us his bitch. Like, did he do anything else?
Do you really want me to look this up on Wikipedia?
No.
Okay. I don't know. I actually didn't really know much about John Romero until I started hearing about him on the Bombcast, because, I mean, I was born in '87, so...
I mean, have you heard about the Daikatana advertising campaign?
No.
They wanted to put Daikatana out, which is a completely broken game, by the way. You
Okay.
have to cheat to get through the second room. There's a door that won't open.
Oh, God.
So you need to no-clip through it if you want to play the game. They sold this for money. Daikatana, the advertising campaign, when they went to do it, they wanted to release it for Christmas, but they didn't have any gameplay footage. They didn't have anything. So the advertisement was just a full-page ad, black text on a red background that simply said, John Romero is about to make you his bitch. And smaller letters underneath, suck it down.
Okay, that sounds a lot like, fuck. There was some game that had some creepy language like that in there. Anyway.
Yeah, Duke Nukem, maybe?
Maybe, or like Saints Row, or some
Saints
creepy...
Row always felt, and is, very tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Who knows what Doom... Well, this new called The Doom, or whatever.
The Doom? Is that what it's called?
No, but that'd be funny. I almost wish they did, just because it'd be ironic. Yeah, who knows what it's going to be. I think the thing with it is they're a lot like Midway, where they really succeeded. They excelled at a certain point in video game,
But they didn't carry it through.
They don't know how to modernize themselves very well. And I think John Carmack leaving as important.
Help at all.
Well, no, I think it might, because getting new blood in there might kind of help modernize. I mean, look at Nintendo.
Okay. Here's what I'm gonna say something different. I don't think they should modernize. We just both talked about.
Yeah, that's true.
Doom still holds up. You know what they should do?
Just release a lot of affordable, solid, smaller games.
Yeah, make Doom again, but use modern technology and do what Doom did. Simple graphics, fast movement, but
barrels.
Give us what?
Barrels. Blowing up those fucking barrels.
But put in more mechanics, because there was a lot of stuff they wanted to do. Like I heard an interview with them where they were talking about we wanted to have a thing where the green barrels, which you see everywhere, were going to be just one type of barrel, and the green ones would spill acid everywhere, but we couldn't get the graphics down.
Yeah.
So put that in. Put in more vertical stuff. Have enormous levels, because you can do enormous levels.
Didn't they have acid barrels in Resurrection of Evil?
Maybe.
That game was pretty good. It doesn't have the replay value the original Doom 3 did, but that artifact thing kind of helped change up the gameplay enough. And that double barrel shotgun.
I never played. What's the artifact thing? Give me the breakdown.
See if I can remember it. It was I think I remember it firing a laser at one point. It had a bunch of different
like it's
abilities.
a pickup thing you can get that.
Yeah, you kind of hold it in your hand. I think, God, dude, you know how long it's been since I played that game?
Honestly, from what you're describing, I have in my head the image of the kill star from Far Cry Blood Dragon.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
Oh, it's like that?
Yeah, you should
Okay.
play Doom 3 Resurrection of Evil because I think it might be standalone and it's really good.
All right.
I think if you get Doom 3 BFG Edition, it comes with everything. So just look for a sale.
Okay. It is on Steam. It's probably on Steam.
Yeah, it's on Steam, and original Doom 3 is not like 1080 unless you type in the codes and everything. And I think if you really want to play Doom 3 and Resurrection of Evil and have all those old Doom games, I think it's worth it when it's dirt cheap. It's definitely worth it. I think I bought it for full price or something.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, that's gonna happen. Games I played. I've been playing Strider a lot.
Hey, we talked about this last week. You said you didn't like it.
It gets better towards the end.
That is not a valid.
I know. It gets better the more the further along you get, and unfortunately, it's kind of got just a little bit of the bullet storm problem, where like the more abilities you get is like, yeah, I can deflect these fucking lasers now, so it's not great.
By the time you get there,
huh?
By the time you get all the cool stuff, the game's basically over.
It seems that way, but not nearly as bad as Borderlands. Borderlands was. I'm sorry, not Borderlands. Bulletstorm.
God, I just threw up a little in my mouth.
Yeah, Borderlands had different problems.
Borderlands is an arrow comparison engine.
Yeah, it was just too brown. And anyway, that's a different conversation. But I think Strider's better than Bulletstorm. So it just goes to say how much I didn't like Bulletstorm.
I think getting punched repeatedly in the face is better than Bulletstorm.
Yeah, that game was such a letdown. God. But anyway, I was going to give it like a 2 out of 5, but I think I'm almost done with it, and I think it's more deserving of a 3 out of 5. And I don't do 10-star scores. I don't like 10 point. I like 5s because it's more decisive.
Then it's just like, this is good.
Yeah, well, I feel like there's a lot of games out there, and the 5-star
Five's the ones
scale.
that you should play.
Yeah, and it just.
I've got a 5 for everybody. There's DLC for Shadowrun Returns.
Is that good? Is that because the last one was horrible?
Which one? Oh God, the first-person shooter.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, it wasn't horrible. It had some
No,
interesting.
it was horrible. It was.
Conceptually, it was pretty cool, but the gameplay wasn't very good.
You know what the problem with it was? They went into it thinking, okay, we'll just make an FPS and we'll take some elements from Shadowrun.
Yeah.
And then they didn't even do a single-player campaign.
I think that game could have been great if they continued to patch it and kind of...
I think that game would have been great if they'd actually run with the setting that they'd managed to acquire.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have the rights to make a Shadowrun video game? Fucking make a Shadowrun video game.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to modernize it and didn't do it as well as like a game like Fallout 3 or something.
Shadowrun Returns, meanwhile, is not very modernized. It's a third-person... Or no, it's an isometric tactical RPG.
Okay.
Much like the original Fallout, except smoother.
Is this
It's turn-based.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which means I probably won't play it.
It actually plays a lot like... Did you play XCOM, the new one?
No, but I know what XCOM is.
It feels a little bit like that. But there's new DLC for it, and you get to play in Berlin, and you get to fight in a great dragon whose name I can't pronounce, and it's so fucking
Smaug.
cool. Not Smaug.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I'm not buying it now.
This is a German name. I'm going to butcher this.
Hefeweizen.
Fierschwing. Fierschwinnig? I think it's Fierschwing.
All German just sounds like the name of a beer.
Okay, that's fair.
It also sounds horribly racist. Watch the Germany thing disappear.
See if you can read that. I will give you $1 if you can read that properly.
If I could click on it, this fucking desk.
Yeah.
Führerschwing. Fuck. Führerschwing. There's too many E's. Fuck German. There's like 2 vowels before you even get into the real meat of the word.
But yeah, there's
Führerschwing.
There's 3 vowels. There's an F and then 3 vowels.
There's fucking 3 E's in this word.
This DLC for the original game had some problems. One of which was they only saved at every checkpoint, and checkpoints would often come after 2 or 3 fights in a row, some of which were incredibly difficult.
So they want to be old school like that.
The DLC changes it so you can just save wherever you want.
Good.
It also adds a whole bunch
of
tools to the developer kit, because a big selling point of the new Shadowrun game is that user-created campaigns are easy to make, and some of them are fucking awesome. And if the main game is like 5 or 6 hours long. And you can probably play that twice, because there's a dozen different play styles. The downloadable campaigns, just the 2 or 3 that I've gone through, have given me an extra 30 hours of playtime out of this, and they're free, and they're still updating, because the developers are awesome. And now there's DLC that's more... if you like Shadowrun, if you like Cyberpunk at all, I really, 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 really recommend this.
I don't know if I can deal with turn-based stuff. My ADHD is just like, oh, there's no action here. The attacks are too slow.
Howard.
Yeah, I just get bored. I'm very impatient. Very, very impatient, and the older I get, the more...
You know what? I think I have an extra copy of this. I'll send this to you on Steam, and you can try it and see if you like it.
And then I get to yell at you next week.
Or you get to say thank you and apologize.
Or we will see.
That goes, yeah.
So, but is that all you want to say about Shadowrun?
Shadowrun is fun. The tabletop is awesome.
Well, it's good that
the original SNES or the SNES and Genesis games are pretty cool. This new one feels like a throwback to those, but in a good way. Ignore the first-person shooter. I really wish it was better. That's it.
That game had some cool ideas, but yeah, it just didn't stick.
Some of the stuff it did actually properly, like
it's like a weird precursor to like the Team Fortress game that we know now.
Yeah,
but a bad one.
I don't know if this is a good thing to do. When I played that game, I had just started playing Shadowrun as a tabletop RPG, and I couldn't help but look at the game mechanics and think, why did they change this? It worked fine in the RPG. It would have worked fine here in the first-person shooter. Why did they change it? Like, magic. Magic in Shadowrun requires line of sight, which means that one thing you cannot do is teleport through walls. But one thing they have in the game
is like
Nightcrawler. Teleport through walls. And in the game, it doesn't really work because you can't see past the wall.
Yeah.
So every time you do it, you end up teleporting, getting stuck in a basement somewhere, and then having to take the stairs back out and feeling like an idiot because you just took yourself out of the fight for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah, that game. What if they made a sequel to that?
You get to summon a giant tree that has a healing aura because trees? I don't understand why they decided that was a good design choice.
Maybe it's an Oregonian, and it's responsible for that. Because Oregonians are that crazy about trees, you probably would do that. All life comes from trees, man.
In the Shadowrun universe, Oregon is populated by elves.
I want that in real life.
Fascist elves that killed or enslaved all the humans that were left.
And wear thick glasses. God, I hate those fucking thick frame glasses that all of a sudden are popular.
My dad has reading glasses that are thick frame glasses because they're thick glasses.
No, I liked them before. Now I don't.
It's like sometimes they're required for functionality.
Yeah.
It's a style choice.
It is, but when all these teenagers that haven't done anything nerdy in their life pick it, hey, look, I'm a nerd now. I'm like, no.
You know what I like to think of it as? It's character customization options.
There you go.
Society has been patched to include more options for character customization, and that's cool.
As long as they're not shutter glasses.
Did
Yeah, fuck you, Kanye. Anyway,
you ever see, there's a little comic, it's a teacher, and he's like, God, I caught one of my students wearing stunner shades today. What should I do? I know. And he holds up a Pokeball. Spirit Pokemon, hear my plea. Help me fix this problem. And in his head, there's like a picture of a Hitmonchan. And he's like, yes, I understand now. And the next frame is him punching like a 13-year-old girl who's wearing the shade glasses.
There you go. Fucking this. Didn't Kanye start that shit? Wasn't he the one?
I don't know.
Because he says he doesn't like reading and he's proud of it, so he's an idiot.
Every time somebody says, like, I hear people say sometimes, oh, I don't like reading. And I think, oh, you're kind of a lazy dumbass.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. Or what? Worse than that, I don't read. That's the worst way to say it.
But sometimes I hear people say, like, yeah, I don't like reading books. I do get impatient, and I know I should try, but I just don't have the attention span. And they sound apologetic about it, and I don't mind that so much. Like, they know what they like, and they're just going with it.
But people that refuse are never intelligent people.
And
Never.
Yeah, and then people who are like, I never read a book in my life, and I'm proud. Well, you're wrong.
I hope Kanye's listening to this, because if he is, good job.
Kanye, if you're listening, send us an email.
Please, yes. Gabe0083 at Gmail? No, it's Video Gabe. I don't fucking remember. I haven't.
Forgotten your own email.
Well, it's an email I only use on this
Okay.
podcast. Just find me on Twitter, Gabe0083. Yeah, just you take the one genre of music that needs strong English and strong lyrics the most, and then say, nah, reading sucks. Good job. No wonder your music's garbage. Good thing there's a lot of idiots out there to listen to it, Kanye. Anyway, I just lost half my user base. Assassin's Creed 4, Black Flag. I picked that up and started playing it a little bit.
How'd you like it?
It's a beautiful game. It's kind of like Far Cry 3 meets Assassin's Creed. I hope my attention span will hold out long enough to finish it. Because it's like, once you've played an hour of Assassin's Creed...
You've kind of played an hour of every Assassin's Creed.
Yeah. I think I might keep going with that game, but geez, did it... It was like, for a moment, I was like, holy shit, this game is awesome. And then an hour later, it's like, okay, I'm kind of bored.
I think Assassin's Creed Black Flag is another game that would benefit from being called literally anything other than Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, well, it's more like the... I think it's less like the 3 before it, like the 3 bad ones that no one liked.
And that's sort of my point, is like, what if they hadn't called it Assassin's Creed? What if they'd called that game Pirates? Adventure on the High Seas.
Yeah, I wish they'd kind of not...
And then not bothered to do a damn thing about tying it into the Assassin's Creed universe.
And no more of that animist crap. Like, I am so
Exactly.
sick of being pulled out of the action.
No one wants that.
No.
Just want to be a fucking pirate.
And that was the worst thing about the first game, when you... Anyway, so yeah, this game's fine. It's from, everyone's saying it kind of saved the series because so many people were just done. Like, they were flat out done. If this game wasn't good, I don't think there would have been another Assassin's Creed unless they wanted to lose money.
Yeah, I don't like where the Assassin's Creed series is going.
No, it's gone in a better direction since the others, but it's kind of boring.
I played the first one. It was okay. And then I heard they were making a second one, and I thought to myself, okay, I see what we're doing now. So it wasn't just a framing device. Now we get to play as Desmond with all his assassin skills, and we get to have like a cyberpunk assassin game to contrast the historical assassin game. That's really neat. Oh, wait, no, that's not what they're doing. It's more...
Yeah.
Oh.
More of this, yeah.
Well, dicks.
Yeah. basically. It's fine if you like Assassin's Creed. If you want that again, and it moves at a better pace
If that's
than
what
3.
you want, it's better than the other ones.
Yeah, and it doesn't have a big, long, dumb tutorial like, apparently 3 was like half tutorial. So, yeah, that game's fine. I played it for like an hour or 2 hours. I'll see, I'll have more to say with it further on. I played, so Kung Fu Strike, the Warriors, oh no, that's the, I think that's the standalone? What the fuck? So Kung Fu Strike. Okay, we'll just call it Kung Fu Strike. Just
Okay.
look that up on Steam.
Is it about Kung Fu?
Yes, it is.
Man, I'm good at this.
Do you remember Mortal Kombat Shaolin Monks?
No.
That was the.
Are the developers really hoping that I remembered more?
I was actually. Well, it wasn't a competitive.
Oh, was it like a single-player Mortal Kombat thing?
Yeah, but you could play co-op. So you were just running through the levels whooping ass, and it was actually really awesome.
Okay.
I recommend it. I couldn't beat it because Shao Kahn's an asshole. But but yeah, this game plays a lot like Shaolin Monks. There's actually a pretty good single player. It's kind of an arena fighter, so you run around in it's run around 3-dimensional. It's kind of top-down-ish, like 3/4, kind of. But yeah, it's a little spammy, but a lot of this game depends on countering. It's a lot of countering.
Yeah.
Kind of like Batman, but not that robust. The only gripe about the game is it starts to feel way too mechanical, where you're just kind of waiting for those button prompts above their heads. Not like a QuickTime event, but if you don't counter when they say to you, you'll probably get fucked up.
And countering's the main gameplay mechanic, so it doesn't feel like you can take the initiative.
Yeah, you have to fight the way you want, the way they want you to fight, which is it takes the fun out of all the crazy combos. But I think I paid like $2 on this game. Yeah, it's still $2 on Steam.
Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
And I also got the DLC because it was like less. Let me see if it's still on sale. Yeah, it was 59 cents. So
that's a pretty good deal.
Yep.
Although I think we talked about this last week. Was I bought Super Hexagon?
Yeah.
Because it was on sale for 20 cents, and I was like, "Fuck yeah, 20-cent game."
Did you play it?
No.
Yeah, not yet. No.
Like, I don't care. I don't want to play it. I don't know why I bought it.
Because we are I think this is something, like, I'm not saying you're poor or anything, but I think it really captures on, like, the poverty mindset, which is like, it's cheap, I have to buy,
Yeah, like, if I buy it now, I won't waste money on it.
That's why Americans buy the large soda. It's 20 cents more, and then they get fat.
Yeah, it's that idea that you are saving money by consuming more.
Yeah.
You're not actually saving money. You're spending more money on something you don't want, even if it's only 20 cents.
Yep. That's why I never get large sodas anymore. In fact, I never get sodas at fast food places anyway, because it's a rip-off, and I'm just not that excited about soda. There's no alcohol in it. So,
I'm
fuck it.
not that excited about soda because I don't drink carbonated stuff. I catch a lot of flack from my friends for this.
You don't like ginger ale?
Nope.
What? That saved me so many times. I'm horribly sick. But anyway,
horribly sick. Do you mean like diseased or
both
drunk?
hungover and both hungover? Yeah, it eases the stomach. Actually, a better alternative to that is ginger pills. They are far better than ginger ale, but I don't always have the pills around, so those are really good. My sister has like a gluten intolerance, so she has those in case she accidentally. It's really easy to get gluten. Like I have a friend who's so intolerant that he can go by a bakery and then get horribly sick.
Yeah.
So, but anyway,
it sucks because bakeries have cool stuff.
Yeah. And then I tried to play The Witcher 2 and realized I don't think it likes my PC at all.
Yeah, I had the same experience.
Falling through the ground and shit like that.
No, it froze. No, it didn't freeze. During the tutorial fight, it said defeat all the enemies, and then didn't spawn the enemies.
Mine was just bugging. It was like textures were popping like crazy, and then I'd fall through the map, and It was so broken. Like, I don't know. And I haven't heard about this, like, from anybody. What the fuck? It's like I feel alone on this one, except for you. But I think you have different problems.
Yeah. Still didn't really like the game.
Yeah. Well, it looks awesome. It just takes a long time to kind of get into it. But I also tried to play. Did I talk about Lords of Shadow last week?
Yes.
Yeah.
The new Castlevania.
Yeah, it seems okay.
Yeah.
I haven't played it anymore, but
I looked into it a little. That seems to be about my estimation of it.
I kind of want to beat it just so when Lords of Shadow 2 is real cheap, I can play that. I just look okay. Castlevania.
I don't think they're a continuation.
Huh?
I don't think it's a direct sequel. I think it's a different game.
Yeah, it is, but fuck it. I'm not gonna buy that game for full price, so I might as well do something in the meantime. Okay, I don't know if I want another Castlevania 2D game, but I want other companies to make Castlevania games. Not called Castlevania. Like Rogue Legacy kind of got my Castlevania blood pumping.
Yeah, Dark Souls.
That game's really hard though.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if I want. I think I'm too old to get angry at a game like that. But Dark Souls 2 might be more user friendly.
I think Dark Souls 2 plans to have a better UI, more user friendly, but I don't think they're turning the difficulty down.
God, I mean, just to give you
an
I played Strider on
Everybody
easy.
talks about Dark Souls like it's this impossible creature that you must best, but that's not true. Dark Souls is really challenging, but it's totally fair.
Yeah.
The game will never lie to you. It will never throw up invisible walls. Everything works the same on everything else. Poison works on bosses, for example. Unlike in every JRPG ever.
Is it true that it's like weird and you don't really understand what's going on sometimes? Like, I mean, like with the like, they apparently have weird symbols for your inventory and stuff. I can't remember. I heard something about it.
No, inventory's pretty straightforward.
Okay.
The UI is a little clunky, but I think they're fixing that in Dark Souls 2.
Is that an American developed? Like, is that made here in America? Or is that like?
I don't know. I think so.
Okay, because usually, I mean, don't want like once again, just clarifying, I'm not a racist, but then I say something racist. Usually, games made in like anywhere else but America are kind of weird.
Well, I don't think they're weird. It's that we're not used to different cultural concepts.
Yeah.
I tried playing a French first-person shooter called Divine Cybermancy.
Did you just throw your gun down and retreat?
But no, it's actually a very brutal game.
No, I played that fucking game and I hated it. But yeah.
Yeah, the problem I had with it was that it took me a very long time to realize that the word bonus, which we use in a lot of games, comes from a French word, and that there is an antonym for it.
Oh, really?
Malus. A malus is the opposite of a bonus.
Okay.
If there had been any mention of that in the manual at the start, I could have realized what I was doing wrong.
That's a weird game that doesn't explain itself and all the while just bends you over the whole time. It's like, here's 50 enemies.
Once I read the wiki, and there is a beginner's tutorial on the wiki, and it's super convenient.
Okay.
Because the game doesn't have it. And once you realize that, like, okay, you have infinite respawns, but every time you die, you get a permanent penalty to a stat.
Oh, jeez.
So, it is a game that's meant to be run through, and a perfect playthrough has you not dying because it's not that you have to reload your save, it's that the game becomes harder.
Yeah.
And I kind of like that, because it almost has that Nintendo hard feel, where there comes a certain point where you can no longer beat the game, and you have to start over.
There also was that Nintendo thing where I was like, how the fuck do I keep going? Like, what do I need to do?
Sort of like that, yeah. It's not clear. It doesn't... It needs...
Is that game still relevant? Like, are they, like... I mean, it never was, but did they patch that game? Like, are they still...
They've done a few patches to it. If they just gave it a few upgrades, if they gave it some more explanation, had a better English translation, that game would be pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
Because I can see the mechanics in there, and I can see how... Because there's one way you can play it as co-op.
Yeah,
You can
I
play
remember
that
that.
16-player co-op against, and have like, you can pull off high-tech murder heists basically, and that's really cool.
You know,
I just wish it worked at all.
it kind of reminds me. I feel like the next. I don't take this comparison too seriously, but God Mode is almost like the better version of that game without all the RPG stuff in there.
Except God Mode is an awful game. And
No, God Mode's fine.
What?
Yeah,
No,
God Mode's fine.
God Mode is terrible.
It's not terrible.
God Mode is a
What?
blighted hellspawn, bent on the domination of the will of mankind through
The
some
comedy in that game is great.
mechanics.
The comedy is great.
The comedy.
Yeah,
I will give one thing.
the guy
God
that
Mode
sounds like
has-
the devil guy in Cow and Chicken.
God Mode has, okay, that's fair. God Mode has really cool environments,
Yeah.
but weapons take forever to unlock. You start with
Yeah,
the most
it's
boring
pretty
weapons
grindy.
in the game.
Well, I never played it alone, just to make it
Even
clear.
playing co-op, it doesn't feel like there's a lot of teamwork stuff. It's just you're all doing damage to other things. Like, look
Well,
at
I'm
Left
pretty
4
into
Dead.
horde mode games, so it's
Well, Left 4 Dead was sort of a horde mode game, or better example, Killing Floor,
yeah.
where you have to, you break off, and everybody has a role, and you can call for support from your teammates because they're geared to do a specific thing. We need this door welded. Get the support guy over here. There's a huge cluster. Get the demolitions
Yeah.
guy over here. That sort of thing.
If it was more class based, I think it would be a little more involved.
Yeah, classes in horde mode games I think are critically important so that every character has a strength and a weakness, so you have to rely on your allies.
I want to be the dude with the big chain gun that just gets to shoot like crazy and never reload. That's my job in Battlefield. I'm like, I can't hit anything, but these guys are scared, so.
I actually kind of like the idea of a class that, like, I like to play, when I play TF2, I like to play as the heavy.
Yeah.
And I started playing with the Brass Beast. Do you play TF2? Do you know what that is?
Team Fortress 2?
Yeah.
I'm not that big into objective based.
The Brass
Stuff.
Beast is a minigun that you can get for the heavy that does way more damage, but it takes longer to rev up, and once it's firing, your movement speed drops by 90%. So
Okay.
I named mine the Sentry Gun, and I would just stand still and hose down dudes as they came around corners.
Yeah.
And you're like, because it reduces your move speed, it also reduces how much knockback you take. So you can get hit with missiles right in the face and just sit there. Take it.
That's funny.
And yeah, I like the idea of that in a horde mode game where you've got this one guy who's tearing through 60% of the enemies that are charging towards you by himself, but he can't shoot the ones on his sides. So you have to keep him protected while he slowly turns.
Yeah, it's almost like controlling a dude in like old Resident Evil or something. I do like to be the powerhouse that just like fuck shit up guy, as I like to call him.
I like to be the fast guy. Or, better yet, anything cleric-y. I like healers, priests, medics.
Being fast has worked out for me in a lot of games, like Battlefield Bad Company 2. I would just run around with a pistol. If I didn't have an LMG, it was a pistol. It's like big or small.
Yeah, okay, here's a good question. And for you, probably the answer is going to be heavy. Let's apply this question to our listeners as well.
All five of them.
What character archetype do you like playing most in games? What do you like to be?
Probably support, because I'm bad at aiming, and I just like. But even though I'm bad at aiming, it works the best for me. Like we discussed on an old podcast, it may have been like the first episode, I don't know, where I was sucking at Bad Company 2, and I picked up an LMG, and I did okay. But the moment I unlocked the saw, I was like, "This is an accurate bullet hose, and no one can stop me." And I was actually winning. Like, I was getting top scores on my team, and that's a miracle for me. That's like,
that's
I could die
sorta
now.
how I felt in Battlefield 2142. Like, playing as the support class and going along and just like, oh, I can't do anything. I'll just drop some ammo for these guys.
Yeah.
Oh, unlock. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, you get hella points.
Yeah.
I should do that more often. I just always forget, and I panic when I'm getting shot at. So I'm like, so I don't really think. But I own Battlefield 4. And I barely play it.
No
I need a better desk for playing. I
missed 2142. I missed that game. That was a great Battlefield game.
Make another one. I mean, it's about time.
The commander mechanics, it was like near future, so there was all this cool technology they could play with.
But still relevant.
I guess Titanfall is kind of like that, but
yeah.
I want the commander mechanic too. I like the idea of, you're in a squad and you report to your squad leader who can get more points by leading you guys to capture objectives. And he reports to the commander who gets more points by providing tactical or strategic support and guiding squads as units. And God, it's a game with multiple layers to it, and it felt really cool.
Yeah,
I liked it. I'm just, yeah.
I feel like even though Battlefield 4 is, I don't even know if it's debate. I mean, these games are not comparable. I think Battlefield 4 is a better game than Ghosts, just because Ghosts is not very evolved. But like,
Ghosts has a thing in it where it won't run unless your computer has a certain amount of RAM.
Oh, really?
But it's not like it's part of the program. There's a cracked version of Ghosts you can get that takes out that limitation. It only needs like 3 gigs of RAM to run, but the main game will not start unless you have 6 gigs of RAM.
Wow.
They
took a lesson from Vista.
Your hardware. I don't know why they do that.
I don't know, because they don't care in their Activision. But going back to games I played, so we can get this show. Yeah, I booted up. I got on an NES emulator and played Nintendo games for like an hour, and a lot of it was just, the title screen for like Fighting Golf comes up and all the nostalgia, and it's just, oh my god, I remember the song, and then playing it for 10 minutes and kind of going,
10 years old again.
Yeah, and it kind of just, each game lasted about 10 minutes, or if that, and a lot of them were like, this game is shit, click the next one. And a lot of them were fake.
There's some good stuff that we remember from being kids that was good and is good.
I think Balloon Fight is still relevant if you have two people.
Balloon Fight is awesome. Balloon Fight was perfect when it came out, and nothing has updated those mechanics since.
It's kind of like Dig Dug. It's like, how can you fix what's already perfect? And they tried to Dig Dug, and it's like, yeah, this game is fine in the first place.
They tried with Bomberman too.
Yeah.
Tried to make Bomberman all radical and shit.
When did Bomberman first happen?
I don't know.
Because I remember it was big on the 64. That's all I know. Now I hear your keyboard.
I'm checking.
But yeah, I played a bunch of NES games. I got to the bat on Castlevania and died and said, okay. God, man, I'm
a nostalgia trip.
Yeah, and it's really, games are kind of getting depressing for me lately because it's just, they're so boring. There's just, most games are so boring, and Japan's not doing their dadgum job and innovating and Mario and
we're actually seeing a lot of really cool, innovative games in the indie scene come out of places like France and Portugal now.
We are, but it's really starting to get oversaturated fast, and indie is starting to have the same problem that big games have, where there's just a billion of them.
For reasons, but this is an argument we need to have next time.
Yeah, but
because this will take us hours. Also, Bomberman released in 1983.
Okay. I didn't even play the Nintendo until I was actually playing Nintendo very, very, very young. I was born in '87, but I was playing it before I was even in preschool, so old enough to hold a controller, I was playing Nintendo. So yeah, NES was fucking great. It never worked, but it was great. And too bad that top loader didn't happen sooner. Huh?
Just gotta smack it a little.
Yeah, right. That's what she said. So you want to wrap this up?
Sure.
So please, because I'm actually picking up my phone because I forgot the Gmail for this podcast. You know what? Just fucking find me on Twitter. Find me on Twitter, Gabe0083. YouTube, same, Gabe0083. There's a Facebook. Just look up Gabecast. Send me comments on there so I can read them on the show. Damn it. And share with your friends. If I want to have the day where I have so many comments that we just have a,
Mailbag.
podcast. Yeah, just a whole podcast dedicated to that. That'd be cool, but that's going to take a long time, so I don't think the reason why I forgot the email is because I stopped checking it, because it was always empty.
What if it's full now? You might have just wasted all those precious emails.
Okay, here it is. No, it's not, because it's on my, it is on my phone, and it's just, I never got a ding from it. It's videogabe0083@gmail.com, so send those emails there. I don't know where you can share this to get it noticed, because I fucking get banned from a few Facebook groups for fucking spamming them.
Naughty, naughty.
Well, it's like, I'm pretty slick about how I say it without trying to sound like some kind of sleazy salesman, because I'm pretty obvious about saying, look, I pay
I
to
made
make
this thing. You should check it out.
Well, and I pay to make it happen. I'm not making any money, so I'm not like some con man, I'd be a bad con man if I was. Wouldn't be doing a very good job at it.
All right.
So yeah. Anyway, that's the show. I'm really sorry about last week's audio quality. It was fucking atrocious, and I should have. It's my fault for not checking how I sounded in comparison to the other dude. My mic was way up, and his was way down. So, people that wear headphones, I'm sorry.
Well, I hope this is a little bit better.
Hopefully. I turned mine down a bit before the show because I was loud. So, there we go.
Yep.
All right.
Oh, should I do my thing?
Yeah, do your thing.
I've been
forgot.
Argus. I've been your co-host.
What?
What? Am I not?
I don't
Oh
know.
God, have I been muted this whole time?
No. I've just been really good at predicting what you're going to say.
And
Anyway.
if you want to find me and listen to me talk more, because, I know that's why you're here, wink wink, you can find me at brownnoiseradio@tumblr.com. It's like this, but politics and space programs and philosophy.
And Hitler with orbital razors.
Orbital
Damn it.
Orbital lasers and Hitler.
Orbital razors is pretty cool, too.
Orbital Razors sounds like a Nine Inch Nails spin-off band.
About shaving in space. How do you
Sure.
shave in space? Anyway, sorry.
Carefully. Actually, I think if you shave in space, you have to use, you have to put a little vacuum bag over your face.
Oh, I bet, because those little hairs, man, they get all over the bathroom with gravity.
Yeah, they can get into stuff, catch fire, and destroy space stations.
Ooh, that's how gravity happened.
Is it?
No, I wish, man. That movie it'd been more exciting. If George Clooney shaving his beard. Ah!
I would watch that. That would be funny.
It'd be a better movie. Anyway.
Alright.
We good?
We good.
Alright. Thanks for listening, guys, and,
We'll see you next time.
yep, that's the show. And I'm failing at using a mouse. Goodbye!
Click the button.